Hi, I'm Terry Kimball, President and CEO here at the Chandler Chamber, and today I have with me Brandy Reese, candidate running for Arizona House of Representative in Legislative District 13. So welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So Brandy, let's just start off in telling Chandler why you're running for the House.
It's a question I get often. So I'm one of those people that I saw things that I didn't like and I thought I could do it better. I saw some of the lawmakers that we had here in a district that I was in before, and I didn't agree with some of the things that they did, and I thought, I want to step up and take a whack at that myself. And so that's what I did. I want our area to have good schools, that our teachers are respected as the educational professionals that they are, that class sizes are small, that prepare our students for the workforce and the world. And I want to make sure that our Arizona has the resources that we need, not just now, but in the future. So that future planning and sustainability, whereas water is concerned, heat and mitigation and all those sorts of things. I just decided to step up and give it a go.
Oh, great. So what do you think within the next couple of years, what do you think is the biggest challenge that's facing our district in Arizona as a whole?
I think that one of those reasons that I just mentioned, water and our ability to continue to live here in this beautiful desert state that we have, is our preparation for the future. And having those water resources that we need, not just for now, but for our future generations. And being able to just live here long term. And that applies to not just water, but energy, transportation, affordability, all those sorts of things that make Arizona a destination for lots of people and make it a place where my kids want to come back to when they graduate from college.
So Chandler here at the Chandler Chamber, we represent about 172,000 employees here within Chandler. So with that being said, we represent obviously the business community. How will you foster a positive environment between yourself and the Chandler Chamber?
Well, I think as with everything, right, it's all about relationship building. And I mean, I've been coming to chamber events and attending things, getting to know people in the community and finding out what's happening and what's important, what people are talking about and what they're concerned about. And I think that's the key to leadership, right, is service and finding out what's important to the people that you're hoping to serve. And that's the key to all of this, working together, relationship building, and really talking to the stakeholders to see what's important to them and how we can all move forward together.
Great. So this past legislative session down at the legislature, there were over 1,700 bills that were dropped.
Indeed.
What are your top 2 or 3 policy issues that you would like to work on?
It's a little hard to choose. There's a lot of interesting things there. I have a background in law enforcement. I worked for a state crime lab, and so public safety is one of those issues and one of those committees that I think would be interesting to me and sort of speaks to some of my background. I think maybe people don't really recognize that or know that about me, but I always come back to education. Education is what got me interested and engaged in politics in the first place. I was concerned about what was happening at my children's schools, and it's what got me out of my sort of meager beginnings. And so it's got a special place in my heart. And so I want to make sure that our schools are well funded. We need to take a look at the aggregate expenditure limit, which is, something that was put in place back in the 80s. And things have changed. I'm sure you recognize that too. And maybe that should be something we should address first and foremost, so that our schools know the money that they have to spend, what they'll be working with, and they can build on that future based on, solid foundations.
So as politics become more partisan,
What?
how will you work with others that you might not agree with? And what is your plan to make a more unified political environment down there at the Capitol?
I get asked this one a lot too. The great thing about Chandler is we're a very diverse community. We have lots, just a whole cross section of people and places, people that they come from, places that they come from, I should say. I myself, as I said, I come from a law enforcement background. And while I myself am a Democrat, you might imagine that not everyone in law enforcement was a Democrat. So I have that background of working with people that have a different party affiliation than I do. And yet, the mission is always to get the job done, to work together to find a way to get the job done. And that's exactly what I expect to have to do at the legislature. Because ultimately, what we know is across party affiliation, most of us have a lot of things in common if we just really look for those things. And we stay away from those extremes and we focus on the middle of the road. Stay out of the ditches and stay on the road, right? Find those places that we have common ground and work from there.
Great. So how will you maintain fiscal responsibility and prioritize smart allocations of monies down there?
Yeah, this is a tough one for people, right? Because everyone has their priorities and everything's important. It's hard to know where to place money based on those priorities, but that's the job, right? You have to really look at what is important to you and place those big items first and then look for the smaller items. I think education has to be at the top of the list. It's where we invest in our future and really make sure that as a state we can move forward. But realistically, we do have to balance priorities, and that's what everything comes down to. It's very similar to balancing your own home budget, right? Everything is important, from shelter, food, transportation, all of these competing things, and they're all integral to keeping everything spinning. And so balancing those priorities, finding the right places and the smart places to make those cuts, or maybe not cuts, but fiscal conservatism.
So water is a big deal for Arizona.
It is.
You talked a
I may
little
have
bit.
mentioned that.
You may have mentioned that. Do you support or oppose reducing the 100-year water supply requirement? And then how do you propose to balance that new development with our limitations on our water supply?
I know that the 100-year limit has been hotly discussed and debated. I think that is a good conservative number. It's been in place for quite some time, and it's been that way for a reason. And what it forces us to do is to really think creatively and innovatively. And I think we've talked about before, we have a corporate partner here in Chandler. Intel has used innovation and been an excellent corporate partner with the city and with the state for their water usage. And I think that is the way forward with all of these things, is not just conservation, but really careful and creative, innovative ways, outside the box thinking, to really make sure that we can meet all these needs. And I mean, we have the brain power here in Arizona. We have that capability. We just need to make sure that we foster it and look for it and support it.
So I know we've had a short amount of time and we've kind of been all over on the different questions. Is there anything else that you feel is important for Chandler voters to know about you? Or maybe there's something I haven't asked you that you want to make sure that you tell them?
I think that what I hear at doors when I talk to people is they really want sort of a return to normalcy and sanity, and people that recognize that ability to work together, without all of the culture war shenanigans that I think we can get caught up in, and unfortunately give a little more oxygen than they need. I'm very much that sort of pragmatic, moderate person that looks for the facts and the data. And that's my evidence-based problem solving from the crime lab that I go back to. Because emotions can fool you and trick you. And so if you go back to the facts and the data and remove emotion from that, I think that's where we find the sweet spot, where if we're really trying to solve problems, we look for those solutions that we can count on and rely on. And I think that's what people want. They want to know that the people that are in those positions are making good, solid, pragmatic choices that will foster, generations going forward. And it's comforting to have those boring meetings again, right? Where it's not all yelling and screaming and all those sorts of things.
Very well said.
Thank you.
So, Brandy Reese, candidate running for the Arizona House of Representatives in Legislative District 13.